Oh, sure my mic is. There it is. Hey everybody, it's Justice for Comics. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm struggling with my mic there. It is Friday. It's time to review the Hot 10 list for the week. Books that are on the move this week. And some of these have been on the list the last week or two. Yeah, you're hearing some cracking. That was me fumbling with my mic. Sorry. Hopefully the audio sounds okay. It is getting a little windy out here, so I may take off the headset if I'm getting too much wind noise. Yeah, I'm drinking a little bit of, I think this was Elijah Craig. It was the last little bit I had in the bottle. I mixed it with a little Coke. And then maybe near the end, I'm going to pour a little of this. This is my good friend Carlos, neighbor of mine, really nice Puerto Rican guy. He made this for me. It's, what's it called? Chachuda? Can't remember the name of it. I think that's what it's called. Chaluda. It's like an eggnog with all kind. I don't know. There's some liquor in it. That's all I know. I tried it the other night. It's pretty damn tasty. So I think I'll sample that a little later in the live stream. Before the end, I'll pour a little of that for myself. It's nice and chilled. All right, we got Luis Ramirez 504. He's usually first in the chat. Good to see you, Luis. We got Cameron D. He's hanging out. Just a couple of you right now. I didn't send out notifications early like I should have. I just forgot. I probably should do that. I'd probably have 10 people watching right now instead of 3. Oh well. I know a lot of you watch it in the replay. I know several of you do that. And sometimes Friday at this time is not easy to catch people anyways. People might be driving home from work, that kind of thing, commuting. Some of us work from home these days. Yeah, so let's dive into it here. So we'll go through the Hot 10 list. I brought out some books. So who made the suggestion the other night? I think Craig69 did. He said, why don't you bring out some of the books from your collection that are discussed? So I did that. I pulled out some books that are kind of related to what's going on right now, characters. So I did pull those out of my long boxes. Took me an extra few minutes to do that. Not too bad. I found them pretty quickly, which I was surprised. So, yeah, Lewis, people are shopping right now. That's probably why they're not listening. Everyone's like, oh, shit, I got to go Christmas shopping. I still got to get a couple things. I don't do a lot of the Christmas shopping anyways, but I usually get one or two things. At least one thing for the wife, more of a gesture. I never get her what she really likes. I don't know. I'm not very good at. You think after being with her all these years, I'd be better at it, but I'm not. I have to get a couple things for the kids, but most of it's been coming via Amazon the last week. It seems like every other day there's a package at the front door. I'm sure that's the case with most of us these days. All right, let me share my screen here. I already have this pulled up. This is CBSI's Hot 10 list. Let's do the honorable mentions first. Dynamic Comics number 16. This looks to be an older book. 5.0 sold this week for $1,000, which is more than a 7.5 sold for in January. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool cover. So I wonder if there's any on eBay right now. I'm not familiar with this book. Familiar with the publisher Dynamic. Anything but. Yeah, okay, it's a bondage cover. It's a 10 center, so that's definitely what, 1940s and 50s? Probably 1940s. 1945, that was correct. 1945, you can tell by the style of drawing. Or I'll switch over to the other screen, to eBay, so you can see it. There is a copy for sale. Doesn't look too bad. I guess it's missing a small piece in the corner. Yeah, the right corner. There's a chunk missing. Yeah, 1945. That's an old book. Probably pretty tough to find these in really, really good shape. I don't know. This guy's saying it's a good to very good. Good to very good is what, like a 2 to a 3, maybe a 2.0 to a 3.0. I don't know. I think that's in the range. It's a cool cover. I think that's the only one I see on eBay. Yeah, just the one. So this is a book that probably doesn't pop up very often. If it does, it might show up on like heritage auctions, things like, especially if it's graded in higher grade. But you can see it's a bondage cover. You can tell by the way the faces are drawn. That's totally 1940s artwork. That was kind of the typical way human beings were drawn during that period. Yeah, that's just how they drew. It's not bad. So this lady is tied up in bondage, and this guy is coming at her with a snake. It's interesting cover. I don't know if it's the first appearance, if there's anything critical. Publisher was Flying Cadet Publishing. Not really sure who that is, but yeah, there you go. It's an older book, 1945. Pretty cool. So that is the honorable mention that was put on there by CBSI. So basically any older book gets a little bit of, they want to give new books a lot of attention, and they want to throw in an old book here and there. So that's probably why you'll see, on occasion, you'll see an older book, usually under the honorable mentions, just because they'd like to throw some love to an older style type book. Next one is Teen Titans Endless Winter Special number 1. It is a one-shot. I think that just came out too, didn't it? Yeah, I'm not too sure if there's any first appearance in that issue or not. Let me look and see on eBay. Cigar is not staying lit very well. Let me see here. All right, First Summer Zahid, I guess is the name of the character. So there is a first appearance in that issue. And there's one on eBay for $7 shipped. I don't know if is that still on Midtown or not. I don't know. You look real quick. Probably sold out. Yeah, sold out on Midtown. There is a B cover variant by DeMeo. I think you're better off with the A cover, in my opinion. Yeah, so there you go. $7. There's a couple listings asking 18 to 20. That seems a little high. Sometimes I go on, I got another store that I pre-order some books through sometimes. And once in a while I'll find they'll still have stuff in stock. Yeah, it doesn't look like they do. So that may be, I don't know, DC Books. DC Books have problems. I don't know. We'll see. The values don't seem to hold lately. I think that what was it? Batgirl number 50. That was a really hot book selling $25 to $30. I think that's back down to like $10 to $15 now. So, I'd say if you find this for cover price, A cover only, I would grab it. $7 on eBay shipped is not bad. That's not a bad deal. But that would be something to look for at your LCS. All right, let's move on to number 10 on the list. Let me blow this up a little bit. Number 10 is Solid Blood number 17. Robert Kirkman, Ryan Ottley art, Image Comics. It says Kirkman can definitely generate buzz, even if people have no idea why. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. I don't like Kirkman. He's not a favorite of mine. Walking Dead was okay, and I think eventually he stopped it because people really weren't buying it. The show has ran its course. I don't know anybody that talks about the show anymore. I don't know. Outcast. That was hot for a little while, and then it's cooled off a lot. His books, I think Invincible still has a pretty good following of people that buy it, especially issue number 1. It is a pretty low print run, hard to get in high grade, but I don't think his writing is that great. That's just me, but I'm not a big fan.
So this was not a book I would care to pick up, but hey, if you're a Kirkman fan, if you bought it for cover, it's selling at $15 to $20 supposedly right now, so that seems to be doing well. Number 9 is Night Hunters #1. This is coming out next Wednesday. I did grab it from Midtown this week for cover price. It sold out later that night. The story premise sounded interesting. I think that's the reason. I saw the cover and I thought that's kind of an interesting cover. It's a small, tiny little publisher. And the story sounded interesting. So for that reason, I decided to grab it. It's an issue #1. But CBSI has a good point. Some of these small little indies do well for a week or two. And then after a month, no one talks about it, no one cares, and the price goes right back down. So if you bought this book for speculation, definitely this is the time to sell it. I don't even have it. I just ordered, and I just grabbed it off of Midtown. But who knows? Maybe the series is good, and it has more legs to it. But I kind of agree with that assessment. Not all of them tend to last. But if I thought that way all the time, Ice Cream Man, I bought that when it first came out, and for the longest time that was a $15, $20 book, and now Ice Cream Man #1, yeah, that's easily a $100 book if you can find it. So sometimes it just pays to buy them and stick them in a long box and almost forget that you own them. Maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, number 8 on the list is Invincible Iron Man #9. 9/8s have been selling in the $375 to $430 range. Since I've said this before, much to the disagreement of some, this book is the least important versus Invincible Iron Man #7, #9, and #1. It's a cool cover. I don't have that one. What I do have is the Apocalypse cover. Right? So that's the one I have, which is really a lot harder to find. I was on the live stream yesterday, I was talking about this book that I have in my collection. It's not graded, but it's in really, really high grade. If I sent this out to get graded, I'd probably, there might be a slight spine, not really spine roll, but it could be pressed. If it was pressed, it would definitely be 9/8. So that would be a book that probably would be worth getting graded, right? I think 9/6s are asking like $750 to $800. So a 9/8 would probably be a lot higher than that, right? Close to $1,000 maybe for this book. I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know. I do have #7 as well. That is, I think that's the first cameo of Riri Williams. I guess that's her first full. I don't know how that goes. I also, related to Riri Williams, since that's a hot character right now, I also have that issue #1 of Ironheart, and that is the Stephanie Hans. I think it's a 1 in 50. I think I paid a lot. I overpaid for it at the time. When this came out, it was a hot book. I think I paid like $125 for this, which right after I bought that, it like dropped down. I think I saw sales in the $60 to $65 range, and I was just like, oh God. So I just was like, I'm going to forget I even bought that. So I just stuck it in a box and sort of forgot about it. I think the book is going for decent money now. Let me look and see. I don't know. Yeah, there's a 9/8 asking $260. I thought it was higher than that. There's another 9/8 asking $300. There's a raw copy for $229. Another raw copy for $259. Shit, I would buy the 9.8 for $260. That's a pretty good deal. There's a 9.8 asking $375. Another one asking $295. There's like 6-7 copies for sale only on eBay. That's it. There's an 8.5 asking $100. So I think mine's probably a 9.8. So I guess I did okay, even though I overpaid at the time. Remember, that was a 1 in 50 incentive, so I should have paid between $50 and $60. And that was a hot book right out of the gate. I bought it off eBay from somebody that probably paid $60. But holding on to it for a long period of time ended up working out. I think that book came out in a couple of years ago at least. What year was that? Yeah. Really, it came out in 2019? It seems like it was longer than that. I don't know. So that's a book that, anything Riri Williams is probably going to be kind of hot for a while. All right, number 5 on the, number 7 on the list is Mace Windu number 5. I think there's an appearance of, is it Osaka? Or, I don't know, whoever that chick is, that Jedi. I think she makes an appearance in that book. I don't think it's significant for any other reason, is it? I just remember when that Mace Windu series came out, you couldn't give them away. That book did not sell well. Yeah, first full Osaka Tano. Okay, that's her first full appearance, I guess. I don't know. So when that book came out, that whole series came out, I don't think anybody really paid it much attention. Obviously, that's not the case now. I'm sure you could have bought sets a little while back for $15, $20. Now that one issue is selling. Yeah, there's a couple listings on eBay right now. There's a 9.8 asking $500. There's a non-graded raw copy asking $85. There's an auction with 3 days left, currently at $41. Another auction with 6 days left, so that's $16.50. So yeah, there's the Star Wars. It's definitely a hot item right now. Everything Star Wars. So I pulled out some Star Wars books to kind of show off. I'll do that here now. Number 6 is Darth Vader. Number 3, the Salvador Larroca 1 in 25 variant. I didn't even really know that book existed. I mean, I have the regular, so I do have the first print of the first appearance of Dr. Alpha, right? Darth Vader number 3. So I do have that first print. I don't have the second printer. I think that it went to a third printing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, I've read the series. I collected most of the issues. I didn't buy it because I knew it was a first appearance. I just bought it because I was reading it. And I had no idea there was a 1 in 25 on this. So anybody that had the foresight or the dumb luck of buying that, congratulations. You've done very well. That book is, it's doing well. It's a hot book. Pre-COVID, it says 9.8s were around $300. Now it'll run you about $1,450 for that. Wow. You could have picked it up for half that price just a few weeks ago. So, yeah, I mean, there's a huge bubble right now in all things Star Wars because of the Mandalorian show. Just be careful out there. I wouldn't chase these prices at the moment. I think in a few months, a lot of these prices could come back down. That's my feeling on it. We'll see. I don't know. Next one is Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi, Force Storm number 1. Yeah, $100 book, now going for $200. Just add this to the Star Wars Insanity. That whole mini-series is selling well right now. It was, again, that was a mini-series that when it came out, that was under Dark Horse. That's before Marvel. purchased the Star Wars franchise. None of those books sold well. I mean, they just didn't. They didn't sell. Shop owners ordered very little on those because they would sit on the shelf. No one would buy them. There was no interest in Star Wars back then. I mean, it just wasn't. I remember you couldn't give those away. Those were probably in dollar bins at one point. I have no doubt that they were in dollar bins. So now everything Star Wars is on fire. Oh, I should have been sharing my screen. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so there it is. Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi. I mean, it's a cool cover. I like it. Gonzalo Flores cover. It's pretty cool. Very artistic. But yeah, everything Star Wars is fire hot. I've got some books I hope get hotter. I'm going to pull out a few right now. I got this one I picked up last year. I think it's Star Wars. I don't remember what number it is. 32, I think. This is the John Tyler Christopher negative variant of the Emperor background. I just thought that was really cool. I think I paid like $20 or $30 for it. I didn't pay a lot. I don't know. Maybe this book will get hot at some point. Who knows? I think you can find them on eBay pretty reasonably, though. This is another one I just bought it. I think I paid like $10 or $15 for it. It was a hot book the week it came out. People always love Boba Fett. And that's Star Wars Dr. Alpha number 24. That is the Rod Rice B. I think it was just a B cover. So, this was something that you should have been able to get for cover price. But, yeah, the week it came out, everyone was buying it. It was hard to find. I think I paid $10 for it. I paid more than cover. I love it. It's a cool looking cover. I love Boba Fett. And of course, all things Boba Fett are doing well right now because he's in the Mandalorian show. Then I do have the set of Darth Maul, Star Wars Darth Maul. This came out, 2016, 17? There was no interest on it at the time. I mean, I like Raphael Burke's art, so I think I just picked up all the A covers. Pretty much, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just all A covers. So I don't have any of the incentive covers. Yeah, there's number 6, right? So 5 issue. Yeah, it was a 5-issue miniseries. It was good. I liked it. I like Darth Maul. He's a cool villain. He's not as cool as Darth Vader, but Darth Vader would destroy him in 3 seconds. But he's a cool villain, cool character. And then I do have a set of these that I bought a long, long time ago. I bought the Star Wars Dark Empire, the gold foil. I believe I bought these off of the Home Shopping Network, believe it or not. They were selling these for $50 a set off the Home Shopping Network. There were six issues. They're all gold foiled. They're all in my lights. They're all perfectly 9/8. So I don't know if I got them graded. I would imagine they would sell for a decent amount. It came with it had a little COA with it, I guess, certificate of authenticity. Yeah, they're nice. I bought 5 sets of them. I think I still have 4 sets, 3 or 4. I think I still have 4 sets. I ended up selling 1 set for about, I don't know, maybe $60 to $75, probably way too low. And then I kept the other 4. So I still have several of the, I think I still have 4 sets of that series, which is cool. And then I also have the Star Wars issue number 2. I was talking about this last night on my live stream. That is the original issue number 2. I bought this for $20. I don't know, a long time ago. I think it was at a local comic book shop. It was one of those wall books. It's newsstand. Most of them were newsstand back then anyways. Came out in the 70s. It's got a couple little spine ticks, right? 1, 2. if I looked at this book real carefully, I haven't looked at it in a while. I put it in a my light, so of course it looks nice in a my light. But yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 spine ticks. 3 of them are pretty noticeable. Edges are pretty sharp. There's no blunting on the edges. This would probably grade it between an 8.0 and an 8.5. I don't know. It's hard to tell with the loose standards. If it got pressed, it might get to like an 8.5 to a 9, maybe 9. I don't think a 9 though. Not with these spine ticks. Whenever I see spine ticks like that, and someone's trying to say it's a 9.0 or a 9.2, I'm just always like, no way. That should be like 7 to really an 8. Maybe with the pressing, this might be an 8.5, but yeah, I'd say 8.0 to an 8.5. Somewhere in that range would be my professional opinion. I mean, it looks nice. It presents well. And in my light, it looks a little cleaner than normal. So it doesn't have any big it doesn't have any big creases or anything like that on it. All the edges are pretty nice. It could use a pressing. But yeah, overall, it's a nice looking book. For $20, not bad. I held it a long time though, so what are you gonna do? So those are some of my Star Wars books that I felt were worth mentioning. Let's move on to number 4 on the list. Weird number 1. I'm not familiar with this book, Dark Horse book. I guess there's news of it being optioned. This was a $3 book that now is selling around $30. It's kind of a cool looking cover. Looks like Dark Horse books are starting to do well, getting some needed attention. But that might be one that you could find in a back issue bin. That might be worth taking a look at, especially it's a book that is in the W's. A lot of times those books get ignored. People don't look at the end of the alphabet for books. So that might be one that you could find. Number 3 is Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron, the Rebel Opposition number 1. Again, Dark Horse, no one was buying these books when they came out. Shops couldn't give them away. These were dollar bin, maybe even 50-cent bin books. I remember several years ago going through dollar bin books and boxes of dollar bins, and there was all kinds of Star Wars Dark Horse books in there. No one cared about them. So yeah, I mean, anybody that had the foresight or who loves Star Wars and put them in a nice protected comic book sleeve and put them in their box, kept them in really good shape. There's some nice price movement on these books now. So this was a $10 book, moved up to $50 this week with news that Patty Jenkins, Hollywood director, is looking to direct a Rogue Squadron movie. So that is helping the sales of that book right now. And number 2 is Star Wars Jedi vs. Sith number 1. $500 for a raw copy. There is a 9.8 currently running that is even higher. Is this the next $1,000 Star Wars book? I wish I had it in my collection. Anything with Darth is just insane at the moment. So, yeah, again, when these books came out, literally they couldn't get. They were very low print runs. Even though there's always been a lot of Star Wars fans, the comic books just never did well. Dark Horse Star Wars books just never sold very well. And especially these mini-series. This was like a 5-6 issue mini-series. People just didn't collect them. And you could have bought them in dollar bins. So, yeah, can you imagine that? I mean, right now, there might be a LCS that has that sitting in a back issue bin for $1. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't shock me. It's not a book that a lot of people are paying attention to. So, Yeah, I mean, some of you guys have honey holes, some LCSs, or maybe you can slip that book in a. Hopefully, the store owner doesn't notice what you're buying. Even if he does, I'd be ready to sue him for not selling it to me. I mean, I guess they could still do that, but you know, that would drive me nuts. If I know Lewis was telling me the other day about an experience like that where found a $25 book that's selling for certainly way more than that, and shop owner wouldn't sell it to him. So, because he looked it up on eBay real quick. Yeah, so that's a shitty thing to do. I would never give any shop. I mean, first of all, I don't shop at LCSs anymore really that much, because the ones by me, they're all shitheads that own the owners. And most of them are going out of business. They're not doing real well. And it's because they're shitheads. They give horrible customer service. You know, I'm sure they have a loyal following of a few people that have a pull list or whatever. But for the most part, a lot of those shops they're not doing well. I don't think they always look like they're struggling to me. But sometimes that's the only way to find good deals. You're not going to find, these books, if they're on eBay, they go in 2 seconds, right? So eBay's not a good place to find these books. Your best shot is an old shop that's going out of business. That's probably your best shot there. Number 1, Batman 313, first appearance of Tim Fox, who is, I guess, going to be the next Batman, or at least for a few issues. Bruce Wayne isn't going anywhere, so any of you that think that Tim Fox is going to be Batman for a long period of time, it's just not true. Bruce Wayne will be with us forever. They're never going to kill him off. So Tim Fox is, it's temporary. So don't go crazy spending insane money for this book. If you can find a copy for $40, $50, $60, maybe $75 raw, that's in really high grade, that might be a good pickup. But please don't go buy a graded copy at super high price. I'm telling you, that book long term is not going to hold that value. It just won't. Not in my opinion. Being Batman is kind of a big deal. Yeah, it is and it isn't. I also remember that Gene Paul guy was Batman for a while too. There's been a lot of people that have become Batman that, of course, get the mantle taken away from them eventually, because it's always going to be Bruce Wayne as Batman. So, I've seen this story play out many times before. Nothing's changing here. So just be aware of that. Don't go crazy spending tons of money on that stuff, because it just isn't going to hold up long term. Not at those prices. All right. Let me see here. I've not been paying attention to the chat too well, so let me look at it. BTC Moon Guy, good to see you, buddy. Mick, what's up, Mick? Jimmy Ramsey, good to see you. gtkeycomic, season's greetings to you, my friend. Louie Thirteenth. Louie picked up those solid bloods for cover. There you go. I would resell those very quickly, my friend. Let's see here. Air Spider picked up Vader 1 through 5. Alpha was the second printing. There you go. Second printing is still good. Don't spend crazy money on Star Wars from the Star Wars guy. Yeah, I've been a Star Wars fan for a long time, but some of these prices right now are just crazy. How come Star Wars wasn't going nuts when these last 3 movies came out. That tells you how shitty the movies were. It didn't move the comic books at all. Dollar bin today, gold tomorrow. Yep, that often happens. Darth Maul should be back. Yeah, I'm sure Ray Park wouldn't mind reprising the role. I don't know. He's an old guy now, though. I don't think he could pull off those stunts. He probably has had a couple knee replacements since then. Louie 13 says, I paid 3 times you did yesterday, but that's okay. Condition 9.2, Star Wars #2. There you go. Yeah, mine's not that good a condition, that's for sure. Mine's like an 8.0 probably. 7.5 to an 8.0. Second print Star Wars has a 35 cent. Mine's 30 cent. Okay. I was like, do I have a second print? I don't even know. gtkeycomic says, thanks for the heads up on the metal cover. Pharaoh's Lounge book sold out quick. Yeah, I know the metal covers were only limited to 20, so I'm not surprised those sold out. Hell, I can get 20 people from my subscribers to buy that book. That's probably who bought it, the people that pay attention to my channel. I haven't seen any listed on eBay yet, but don't be surprised if that shows up on eBay, probably north of $200 at least. It's Canadian, so what did I pay? Like with shipping? Shipping's expensive from Canada, though. So I think I paid like $140 Canadian. So what was that? Maybe $80, $75, $80 US, I think it was. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's $150 to $200 book. Just the cover alone it's fire. Yeah, it's really not Darth Vader, right? It's a, I don't know, what do you call them? The Pharaoh's Lounge, they're like spoof parody books, right? Is that what they normally are? I don't know if they're even, I would assume they're legally able to print those images, but they are sort of infringing on trademark. I mean, Darth Vader, I don't think you can just make a Darth Vader cover and decide to sell it without getting permission from Marvel or Lucas or whatever. I'm pretty sure you've got to get some type of licensing to do it. So I don't know. I'm assuming the shop has that taken care of, but either way, if it becomes an illegal comic book to own, that makes the book go up more. So that's okay with me. I just think it's a hot cover, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm usually pretty good at judging art. If I like something art-wise, usually most people do as well. I'm pretty good. I got a pretty good eye for artwork. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be decent demand for that book on a forward basis, just because the art is so good. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Air Spider says Star Wars is not going to hold up if people just buy anything with first appearance, which I see a ton of on IG. Yeah, I agree with that. Just be real careful. I mean, I understand a lot of people are into Star Wars, but a lot of these characters are not going to be developed. They're just not going to be. So, yeah, word of caution. Just understand that it's in that spec bubble game at the moment. It could go higher. It could go lower very easily as well. So, yeah. Let's see here. Cameron D says it's because Mandalorian has been so good, and all the shows that will spin off from the series definitely will help all these comics. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Mandalorian has been. I mean, that tells you how bad the movies were, right? No one was talking about those last 3 Star Wars movies. They just weren't. They talked more about that Mandalorian show than they ever talked about those 3 movies. And how many hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that they spend on those movies. It's completely insane. That just goes to show you, if that doesn't wake up the social justice warriors out there, the people that believe in social justice, that it destroys good storytelling, and it could easily destroy your property. I don't know. If I was sitting on the board of Disney, the first thing I would try to do is fire everybody that had anything to do with those movies. Kathleen Kennedy, all of them, they would all be fired. J.J. Abrams would never, ever direct a movie within 1,000 yards of my studio. I would fire them all, and I would make sure that they're banned from ever producing anything. I mean, that's just the way it is. The SJW stuff, it's destructive. Fans don't like it. It doesn't do well. And I don't know why these people don't learn this shit. It's real basic. I don't know. I guess I'm under I usually think that most people out there are at least as smart as me, but that's not true. Most people are not. Even executives, even people that are in high positions of authority, you would think that they're intelligent, but most of them are dumb. They're fucking dumb. They went to the right college, they got into the right social circle, and that's it. That's the genius. That was their genius. They were in the right social circle, so they went to the right college. God, just anybody within 100 yards of Mark Zuckerberg's dorm room became a billionaire. So it just goes to show you, yeah, it's more luck than skill. Air Spider says, no, you cannot just sell Vader. That's right. You can infringe as long as it's a spoof. I have no idea what that comic book's about. It sounds like it's nothing like Star Wars. The description I read on it had nothing to do with Star Wars. So I don't know how they got away with John Gallagher putting that cover on there, but I love it. I mean, I bought it. So, yeah, are they fake books? Yeah, they are. They're fake. It's not a Marvel licensed property. Man, this stuff's good. This eggnog, Puerto Rican eggnog that I'm drinking, it's fantastic. I don't know why everyone hated those, but loves the show they haven't seen just because they like Mando. Yeah, there you go. Word of caution on every single book in today's market. Unless you have an Amazing Spider-Man 129, everything is a risk. Wow. I think Venom 3 is going to be okay. First appearance of Null. I don't think you'll ever see that book drop much. I don't think you'll ever see that book below $100 ever. Never again. So I would disagree with that comment, gtkeycomic. I think there's a lot of modern books that have come out that will absolutely hold value. Not all of them, but I think many of them will. I think Hell Arisen 3 is going to. I don't think you'll see that book get really cheap again. Nope. If it does, I'll buy it up. So, and I know what the print run is. The print run's not that high. So, yeah, I would disagree with that. I think a lot of modern books are going to do well. Remember, when Amazing Spider-Man 129 came out, that was a modern book, right? The week it came out, it was a new book. It was a modern book. Print runs were a lot bigger then, too. A lot bigger. People bought a lot more comic books back then. People don't buy comic books like they do today. They were on newsstands. Print runs were in the millions, especially the farther you go back. If you go back to the 20s and 30s, it was crazy. Like, it's amazing there aren't more copies of Superman around because they printed tens of millions of those issues, tens of millions. The print run was crazy, way higher than any book they produce today. Yeah, people don't know that, but that's the way it was. It was printed on cheap newspaper, and they just printed the shit out of it. Even in the 70s and 80s, the print runs were way higher than they are today. Way, way higher. So eventually enough time goes by, people, but of course, back then people didn't collect like they do today to the degree that they do today, right? We didn't have mylights back in the 60s and 70s, at least not to my knowledge. We had plastic bag and boards really came into their own in the mid 70s. So people weren't really collecting and protecting their comic books like they are today. So there is something to be said for that, but there's also the print runs are a lot lower. So that kind of evens it out a little bit, I would say. Jon Favreau started the MCU and saved Star Wars. Yeah, he started with Iron Man. He did a good job with that. I have a lot of respect for him. I don't think he is. I think he's still a left-leaning dude. No one in Hollywood's right, pretty much. No one's conservative in Hollywood that gets work on a regular basis for the most part. I think the only reason Vince Vaughn gets any work is because he's buddies with Jon Favreau. That's about it. But most conservative actors, yeah, they don't, unless they own their own studio or their own production company. They're not going to get a lot of work. So Favreau's, he's left-leaning, but he's also pretty practical. He kind of knows what stories are going to work and what isn't. So I think he's got a good read on building up a story and what the public is really looking for. I think he's tapped into that pretty well. All right. Only it didn't work for old men. My daughter has watched Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, younger generations probably think the newer Star Wars movies are good. I'm one of the older Star Wars fans, so of course I don't view it the same as a 2-year-old for sure. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Air Spider. I come at it from a different angle, so I'm not going to view those movies in the same light as somebody who's younger and doesn't have all that background garbage in their head, probably, right? Fav went to soundstage, took old props, and keeps it Star Wars the whole way through without interference. Yeah, very good. Legion of Comics says he just finished Mando. Dang. Yeah, I think I'm one episode behind, so it's been pretty good. I like that Osana Tana episode. I mean, she was pretty good with those 2 lightsabers. I noticed they weren't very long though. Wasn't that the case? She had 2 of them, but they were not. The blade didn't seem to be the normal length lightsaber blade. So I thought that was interesting. Legion says, I don't consider myself old. The new ones are horrible. Yeah. I mean, I don't like the new Star Wars movies. I thought they weren't very good. I think there were some scenes that were decent, that were interesting, but overall, it didn't give me a feeling of wonderment and inspired me like the old ones did. Yeah, it didn't give me that same feeling. Louie says, I'm one of those people, Seth. I know newspaper was a thing back then when you didn't know they printed that many comic books in the 50s. Yeah, they did, man. They printed a shit ton. I think I remember Action Comics was like super, super high print run. I think I remember reading it was like 10 million. It was something really high. But yeah, but people read them and threw them out. No one saved it. I mean, I remember my great aunt. Yeah, she's probably in her late 70s now, 80s. When she was a little girl, she remembers reading Superman, and when she was done reading with it, it was like a newspaper. When they got done reading it for the week, they threw it in the trash. No one ever saved them. So even though they printed millions, no one saved it. They threw it out. And then when there happened to be wars, like in the 40s, when you had World War II, they had all these paper drives. They were recycling paper or they're recycling rubber, and so everybody was just like throwing out all that shit. So comic books, I mean, if you had a time machine, holy shit, could you make some money? Right? You go back and be like, go one of those paper drives, and you see somebody coming in with all these comic books to throw them in the recycling bin. That's all you need to do. Just Put that in your time machine. Take a couple Amazing Fantasy 15s, a couple Action Comics number 1s, a couple Detective 27s. Put them in your time machine, and yeah, it's printing money. Legion's Comics says the sabers are short like the episode lengths. Yeah, they are short. gtkeycomic says the war helped in getting all those golden era books destroyed. They actually had drives to hand in paper. That's right. See, gtkeycomic, he's probably closer to my age. He knows this shit. You gotta talk to somebody older that knows that, you know, that has a history on that. I mean, I wasn't around then, obviously. I'm not that old, but yeah, I remember reading about all that. I'm one of these guys that reads a lot, and I do remember a lot of stuff. I don't know, my wife is always like, how the fuck do you remember all that? I'm like, I don't know. It just stays in my brain. I don't ask it to. It just does. What are you going to do? All right. I think there is a couple of exclusives coming out tomorrow on Saturday. One of them is by my Aaron Bartling. I'm going to give him a little plug. He's a good guy. I like him. Let me pull up his Instagram account. Oh, by the way, he just finished this. I don't know if he did that on a blank variant. He did this commission. Holy crap. That is so awesome. I wonder what somebody paid for that, but that is fire. It's literally fire. Ghost Rider sketch. Yeah, man. So if you got some money to burn, you may want to contact Aaron Bartling. Maybe he can do a commission for you. I'm surprised he doesn't have it on his page. Aaron, how bad of you? He usually posts a lot of, like, I just picked up this one that he did a couple weeks ago. Last Ronin #2. That sold out pretty quickly. I bought a couple copies of that. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to go to Google it. It's Dead End Kids. Yeah, see who's selling. There's one store selling it. Yeah, I think, yeah, Mutant Beaver. I think Mutant Beaver is the only one selling it. So this comes up for sale tomorrow. Oh, actually, it's available today. I thought it was Saturday. I thought Saturday is when they came out with this. It's limited to only, I think there's only 500 copies. Oh, I'm sorry, only 100. Yeah, it's a pretty low print run. Coming from Mutant Beaver, so it's a Canadian store. So keep that in mind. You're even though you're getting a Canadian price, so it's $23.50 Canadian, but you have to pay a little higher in shipping because it's coming from Canada. This is an indie. I think it's I can't remember the publisher. Not Scout Comics. It's, I think, Source Point. Was it Source Point Press? Maybe it was Image. I can't remember. One of the independent companies. It's a cool cover by Aaron, though. I like it. There's also another one coming out. I think this one is coming out on Saturday, so maybe I just got the two confused. Igor Lomov. Lomov? I think it's Igor Lomov. Yeah, so it's showing sold out until tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's his cover for Dead End Kids, Suburban Job #1. Cool cover. Limited to only 150 copies. So a little higher print run than Aaron's. Aaron's is only limited to 100. This one's limited to 150. Both really cool looking covers. I mean, design-wise, I'm digging the Igor Lomov cover a tad more. I kind of like the shattered glass look to, it's kind of a cool effect. I like that design. So if I had to pick one out of the two, I think the one I would lean toward would be the Lomov. So Trinity Comics is the one selling it. It's only limited to 250 copies. So keep that in mind. I'm assuming that will probably sell out pretty quickly. I did collect the original Dead End Kids series. I think it was like a 5-issue miniseries. It did pretty well. I think the first issue had some heat on it. It went to a second printing. It was one of those $25, $30 books for a little while. But I don't think it's sustained that value. I think, that's the problem with some of these independents. It was kind of a hit for a little while, but I think if you go to eBay right now and you want to buy Dead End Kids #1, I don't think it's expensive. I could be wrong. I know there's some variants out there. Yeah, I do have that Esteban Salinas variant. That's pretty cool. There's already somebody asking $40 on eBay for Aaron's. Yeah, Source Point Press. That was so here's one. Yeah, $17.99 free shipping. So I think at one time that was like a $25, $30 book at its height. And it's still, it's not down to cover price. I mean, it's still holding some value. But looks like you can buy it just under $20. And there is a second print. That's not worth a whole lot. That's how it should be. First prints should be worth more than second prints. There is also a Virgin exclusive cover. I mean, there were several exclusives on this book, but I normally recommend at least picking up the regular cover. But yeah, there you go. So that's the books that are coming out. That's one of the ones that's coming out on Saturday. Igor Lomov. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Legion says, has anyone been reading We Live? That's been a shockingly good book. I do have that first print in my collection. I bought it when I pre-ordered it, but I haven't had time to read it yet. I think I'm reading through all my boxes. I think I'm on the J's right now, or I'm starting the K's. So I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to try to knock out a lot of it this coming week, this next week when I'm at home more with the family, and I'll have some time to read, hopefully. We'll see. I'm not going anywhere. Can't watch holiday movies the whole time. All right, guys. I think that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. So there's a couple exclusives coming out. One's today with Aaron Bartling, limited to 100 for Dead End Kids, the Suburban Job. And then the Igor Lomov coming out tomorrow at 2 p.m. I think they'll both do pretty well. They're both pretty limited. And I think the other thing to keep your eye out on is, obviously all things Star Wars. Star Wars, High Republic. I mean, this book doesn't come out. I don't think it drops until first week of January. I mean, that Aaron Cooter 600 limit print run, look at that. It's going for, people asking $150 for that. It's crazy. There's another one that I know Infamous told me to buy this. I didn't listen to him. They're asking crazy money for that. I mean, this book right here, it hasn't even dropped yet, right? The Stephanie Hans variant. There's already people jacking up the price for a graded copy. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, so Star Wars High Republic, the one in 25, people are asking $200 for. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Be careful. I would be very, very careful. I mean, if you can pick it up for cover, that's what I would do. They haven't been released yet. It's going to be in January. I think January 6th is the release date. So you can still grab it from Midtown. I mean, these people pre-ordering it for $13. It's kind of nuts. You know, you can still buy it off Midtown for cover price. So I pre-ordered one today from, what's that website I use? Things from Another World. You can still pre-order books from them usually about a week or two before release. So I still was able to pre-order those High Republic books. And I think I still got like 20 or 30% off, something like that. Let me see. Yeah, I think I was still able to get, 20% off. So not bad. That beats paying cover plus premium. So there you go, guys. That's going to be a book in January that probably want to make sure is on your radar. Star Wars High Republic #1. Obviously, the Cooter limited to 600. That was probably the book to make sure you grab. I missed it. I didn't grab it. Oh well, I can't get them all. But I got the John Gallagher, which I think that's going for good money now. Let me grab one of those sets. Today, I know somebody messaged me that you were able as well. Yeah, 110 now for the. Yeah, I think that's for the Virgin. The trade dress you can buy for about 65. It looks like, and then someone's selling the set for 100. Yeah, I mean that guy had big problems with his website. Very frustrating to a lot of people. I had a lot of people messaging me saying they kept getting errors. I kind of got on him. He's a nice guy that owns Wanted Comics. Nice guy. I've talked to him a few times on Instagram. Nice guy, but he needs to definitely upgrade his website or he's going to have to find another way, especially when he's offering an exclusive book that looks like that. That's by far the best cover. So that was the one to buy. I nailed it. I was right on the money. The only problem was their website wasn't handling the traffic too well. So as far as I can tell, he's completely sold out through the website. On Thursday, yesterday, he was selling them at different time spots during the day. And some people were messaging me saying, yeah, I refreshed for 15 minutes and then finally I was able to buy the set. That was the case with me. I think I tried around noon and I wasn't able to actually purchase it until probably 12 minutes after. It took me about 12 minutes. So his website has some problems. Hopefully he gets that fixed. The print run was only 400 for those sets. So, not super low. I mean, that's not crazy low. But there was obviously enough demand. There was a lot of people that were trying to buy that book. So it probably didn't hurt that I think Jim's Comics posted about it. That's probably one of the reasons it went a little nuts. All right, guys, that's kind of what I have for you. It's getting cold. It's getting dark. I'm going to eat some dinner. That's the end of my live stream. I'll probably be back on. Maybe on Sunday I'll do a show. I'm sure there'll be some emails for me to go through, some more comic book news that I can highlight. So look for that on Sunday. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We got Christmas next week. A lot to look forward to, spending time with family, especially if you have young ones like I do. It's a great time of year, building those memories with them. I really enjoy it. That's this is my favorite month out of the year just because I love seeing how much they enjoy it. So it's a good month. I can't wait for next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll probably have limited live streams next week, but who knows? I'm sure I'll have some time to sneak on here. I'll let you guys know if I do that. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and maybe I'll see you guys on Sunday. Thanks, man.